everyone, I'm Bex from the White Robin, and today I wanted to talk to you about Pantone's colour for the year 2018, which is Ultraviolet. Hopefully you can see just behind me on my laptop here, I've got Pantone's press release that they did of this new colour, which is going to be everywhere. Anytime Pantone releases this colour, it ends up all in the shops. Clothing, accessories, makeup, all kinds of accessories, it gets everywhere. And we find that in our shop in the new year, people start coming to us wanting to know about the colour, and they want to buy things in those colours. We start seeing it in wallpapers, and it just gets everywhere. So I've got here for you that colour, which is called Ultraviolet. And for one of the first times that I've seen Pantone do this, they've actually got the central colour, which is a lovely deep purple, but it's surrounded by lighter and darker shades of the same colour, which sort of suggests to me that it's more fluid than it has been in previous years, and that lots of varieties of purple are going to be big next year. So today I thought we would talk a little bit about that. I would show you how to mix that using Sloan paints, because that's going to be a question that's asked a lot in the coming up next year. I'm going to start that now. So I've picked Burgundy and Napoleonic Blue to start with. These are going to give me sort of a truest purple, although you can mix sort of more sort of aubergine colours using different colours from the Sloan palette. I thought I'd stick with sort of what we call a regular true purple, because I haven't got time to show you everything. However, if you want to know more about that, you can message us either on the White Robin page or on Sloan Grantham. They're both us. We've got two separate pages at the moment on Facebook. Or you can pop into the shop if you're local, and we'll help you with these things. So I'm going to start by making sure that these are nicely shook up, and I'm going to show you how to mix them here on the mix mat. I'll be transferring them once they're done into, this is an empty page of my workbook. I'm going to transfer them into here, so that when I want to refer back to it, I can see which colours I used, and I sometimes write ratios of how much of which colour and how much of which colour. So it's like a permanent recipe for you to go back and see at another date when you perhaps want to paint a particular piece of furniture, or you think, oh, I want something a bit like that colour but not the same. Anyhow, let's get mixing. I just tend to start off doing this with my fingers and getting sort of a rough amount. So I'll just get a fingerful of Burgundy here. Oh, lovely. And then the same with the Napoleonic Blue. And then I just mix those in together until I feel that I'm happy with the colour that I've got. You might want to add a little bit more of one over the other. Okay, I'm looking at that now, and I feel that it's probably a bit too kind of plummy, which suggests to me that I've got more red in it than I have blue. And really I want it to be kind of, sort of an in the middle purple rather than a bluish purple or a reddish purple. I want it to be sort of purple. So I'm going to go back with a little bit more of the blue. I need more, mix that in. There we go. Yeah, that's more what I wanted. And so I'm going to transfer that into my workbook. Yeah, actually that's lovely. That's exactly what I was hoping for, which is good. It's quite easy to do. It looks sometimes a bit complicated mixing colour, but it's really not as hard as you might think. I'm not going to forget now, just to make sure that I put a little technical term there, dob of Burgundy into my book, and one of Napoleonic Blue, so that if I do come back to it, I remember what it was that I mixed together. Oh, I've just put it on the wrong place. I'm a plonker. There we go. A bit more red. Lovely. You see here I've got wet wipes for cleaning up my fingers, because we use the mix mat all the time at work. We have one out at the front of our shop. Customers can come and sort of say, oh, I want to make this colour green, or I want to make this colour blue that they've got on their wallpaper, on their furniture or somewhere, and we'll mix it for them, or try our best. using the paints that are out there. Really helps people to get sort of stuck into mixing colour. Now that particular colour that I've mixed there is quite similar to this one here. I've put it on one of the mixing sticks, but it's possible that you might want it to be lighter than this because it's a very, very intense purple. And to make those lighter shades, I would start to mix in Pure in very small amounts and sort of add a little bit at a time until you get to the lightness of shade that you want. I have 4 further mixing sticks here. So this is with a little bit more Pure, a little bit more again, more again and more again, until you end up with a really lovely pale purple. I can see lots of little girls liking this in their bedroom. So I'm going to start by mixing in a bit of that Pure, just a little bit into the corner, and then you can make those lighter shades that you might also want to put into your workbook. It depends really what you're going for. I'm just mixing as much in as I feel I need to get a slightly lighter shade. So then there we go, a little bit lighter again. And you might want to just go with a bit more again. You can get some really, really beautiful colours actually by mixing these purples. I've had a lot of fun this week doing this because purple is a colour that generally I don't have an awful lot of in my house, but the more I got to thinking about using purple, the more I thought actually it is a really superb colour, and it actually is in a lot of things that I really, really love. And I'll come on to those a bit more in a minute, talking about seeking inspiration for using different colours and things like that. So there we go, cleaned off my fingers. I've added some of those lighter shades of purple into my workbook. I can show you here some that I did yesterday. So here's the sort of, I was talking about a true purple, and all the way down into a variety of lighter and lighter shades. This one here is the same mix of Burgundy and Napoleonic Blue, but this has more of the Burgundy, perhaps 2 to 1 in favour of Burgundy. It makes this sort of plummy purple. And over here, perhaps 2 to 1 in favour of Napoleonic Blue to make a more kind of midnight bluey purple. They're all lovely, however this is sort of what Pantone are focusing on this year, is this central range of purple. To complement these colours that we're mixing here, there is also sort of a mid sort of greyish purple already in Annie's range, which I have here. This is a meal, which is such a beautiful colour. It's really versatile. It goes with a heck of a lot of different things. It's just beautiful. I'll come back to these later. I've done some pairings of colours, which I think might be useful for thinking, how could I use this purple in my house? So next thing, I made this board of purples yesterday. This is the mix of the two colours to make a purple. This is slightly lightened, and then we have with clear wax here, black wax here, brown wax here, and white wax here. You can see some quite different effects there that are really lovely. And I also put on the gold leaf and the bright gold, bright gold gilding wax here. I'm just going to tip that to hope that you can see it, because they are lovely, lovely accent colours. They just work really well, lovely regal kind of finishes that are possible there. And I just thought they are friends. I'm going to put them there so that you can see how lovely they are together. Okay. I have been making a Pinterest board about this colour, which I can show you here on my computer behind me. You can access this by visiting Pinterest and going to search for the White Robin. We have a board that's called Pantone 2018 Ultraviolet, and I've got lots of my inspiration for using that colour in there. Some examples of painted furniture in those kind of purple shades, and there's a lot of things that I'm thinking that I might use in the coming weeks there. I mean, you can search for whatever you like, but I've been thinking about how I would like to use purple and how that kind of appeals to me. One of those things is the work of William Morris. You may or may not know who he is. He did beautiful, like intricate botanical style drawings, quite often they use lots of sort of greens that you would find in nature and sort of florals. Quite often you can see those purple shades coming through. I've got a few examples here. Oh, that's not his. This is his, some of his work here. This particular one is by somebody called Lewis Foreman Day. His work here uses those purples again. It's absolutely beautiful. He's perhaps not as well known as William Morris, but the style is very similar. Another thing is I absolutely love the work of Pierre Redoute. He did botanical drawings, quite often of roses, quite famous for roses. However, he did do other works of things that might include that colour purple, and the pairings with the greens are really beautiful. So there's some works here, not necessarily by him, but in his style or by other artists that are sort of purple or sort of purpley blue flowers. They're absolutely beautiful. I've got quite a lot there, a bit obsessed. And just at the bottom, some bits of furniture that have been done in that purple. I'm going to be adding to that board if you fancy going to look at it, and you know, you'll be able to get more inspiration should you wish. You can make your own board if you like. There's lots of other artists out there that use purple to get inspiration from, but personally I have a lot of things derived from nature in my house. I have lots of floral prints. Most of my curtains have some kind of flowers on. Lots of those things. So that's personally what I've gone for, because I always find it's easier to do something beautiful if you're inspired by it personally. So I always start a piece with some kind of personal inspiration, some kind of personal passion behind it. It helps me to make things that are more beautiful. I've got a couple of book pages here again using sort of pinky purples and purples in the flowers, which would be a good source of inspiration for me, I think. Oh, that one's upside down. So again, you can see here those purples coming through, and this for me is going to be a really great way to start incorporating bits of purple into the things that we do in the shop. I mean, I don't think I'm going to put purple into my home because it's not personally something that I love and use a lot of, but it is going to be massive next year, and yeah, this is a good way for me to think about doing things using purple that I love, and that, yeah, I just think, oh, I love it. I love it. I love flowers. I think that's really beautiful. So I've got lots of things like that. These books are vintage, and they're just plates taken from books. You can find these really cheaply in bookshops, and I have done that quite a lot. I've taken a book, and please don't kill me, book purists. I've taken the pages out and I've framed them, and they're on my walls. And sometimes in an antique shop you could be paying perhaps 20, 30, 40 pounds for a framed print like that. You do it yourself, a couple of quid from the bookshop, and there you go, giving away my secrets here. And there's a few more in this big book here. They look beautiful purple shades. They're just lovely. So anyway, enough of my obsession with botanicals, and a little bit more perhaps about the colours that you can use from Annie's existing colour palette that will go really, really well with this purple colour. I made this yesterday, and I found that quite a lot of the greeny neutrals were really good. That's no surprise, because we know that you need to be looking sort of vaguely opposite the colour, and of course this purple would sit smack bang between red and blue. So vaguely opposite, you've got those greens and yellows and those kind of tones. So you can see I've got Old Ochre here, original, Versailles, that all have sort of a yellowish tone, out on Country Grey as well. I have a heck of a lot of different greens on here. So there's French Linen, which is a neutral, but it has undertones of green. I've got Olive featuring Chateau Grey, Aubusson Blue, which, yes, it is blue, but it has green in it. Duck Egg Blue. I've got Amsterdam up here, Florence. This one, I have to say, I didn't think I would like this, but I gave it a go, and I thought actually that's really beautiful for perhaps for a more modern interior, because I don't have a modern interior at all at home. But for those people that do, Paris Grey and Graphite make a really great striking contrast against the purple tones that we're seeing. I can put this onto social media later so you can have a proper look at it. Yeah, lots of lovely combinations there, quite heavily focusing on those sort of yellow and green tones as a colour to go with. I also did some over here with the lighter purple shade, and I found that dual tones were also something that I found myself focusing on. So again, we've got the Orbison Blue here, we've got Provence featuring, which I think, you know, those kind of rich dual tones can look really beautiful as well. This one I think is lovely, because we've got Orbison Blue here and Florence up here. Just, yeah, lots of lovely things. Again, I can put these on social media for anybody who's interested. One last thing that I wanted to talk about was mixing greens. A particular colour that I absolutely love is that kind of heritagey green, sort of greyy green. You see it a lot in period properties. Quite often you'll see window frames painted in that green, and it features really heavily again in botanical prints. It's sort of a sagey colour, and as the sort of the name grey green suggests, I've actually made quite a few of these by mixing one of the Sloan greens with Paris grey, and again I've got a little purple sample for you to compare. So here, Provence and Paris grey and Florence and Paris grey, making really beautiful tonal shades against the purple. Two different mixes of Amsterdam and Lem Lem, which I think are lovely. I actually made a little cabinet recently using a mixture of mainly Lem Lem with a touch of Amsterdam in it, and then dark wax, and it actually has botanical prints all up the side. And I think that, you know, this kind of colour, perhaps with the dark wax, is really lovely. I think these are really lovely mixes. Amsterdam and Pure here, that's a lot of Pure and a tiny bit of Amsterdam. And here, Antibes with Paris grey, which you think, oh, that really vibrant green. I did try it. I thought that it was too much of a fight between such a vibrant purple and a vibrant green. So toning down the Antibes with the Paris grey just made a really lovely colour. I think I'm going to be using this colour, which I hadn't actually mixed before, so it's new to me as well. I just think, oh, that's beautiful. To me, that is beautiful. I think that's about all I have to show you today. However, stay focused on our Instagram accounts and on our Facebook accounts. I'm going to be doing a lot more around this, because I know it's going to help our customers, especially in the new year when they start wanting to use these purples in their homes. So I'm going to be putting quite a lot of posts out there that use this, because not only is it good inspiration for us and for our customers, but it's also something that we know we're going to be doing a lot of in the new year. So if you've got any questions, please put them underneath this listing, or send me an inbox, or, you know, however you want to get in touch. You can come into the shop too, and we can help you, and I'll be sharing lots of this information for you to refer back to should you need it. Thanks a lot for joining me today, and have a lovely Christmas. Bye.